America's ghost towns look good in photographs. The abandoned silver mines, the weather-worn storefronts, the rusted equipment catching the desert light tourism boards have done excellent work with all of it. That is the front of the brochure. This video is about who is actually buying these places and what they intend to do with them. A West Texas ghost town that screened buyers the way you would screen adoptive parents. A North Carolina mountaintop amusement park that 4 different owners have each promised to reopen, and none have. A California town sold on eBay, with a darker trail of buyers than anyone expected. A Mojave desert hamlet that a cannabis company, a penny stock oil firm, and a Las Vegas adult circus have each owned inside of 5 years. Stay until the end, because number 1 involves a real neighborhood, a rocket company, and the stated destination of Mars. They have already renamed the town. If this is the version of America that never makes it into the travel guide, subscribe because we find it every week. Today we are counting down 10 ghost towns someone bought. Number 10. Lobo, Texas. The last resident walked out in 1991, cotton gin. Economics collapsed. The railroad stop closed. The water table dropped. 10 acres of Culberson County desert on US. Highway 90, 130 miles southeast of El Paso. For a decade, nothing happened. In 2001, 3 German friends drove past a handwritten town for sale sign and purchased everything for approximately $20,000. They spent the next 22 years sinking new water wells, repairing the buildings, and hosting music, short film, and art festivals in the Chihuahuan Desert, 50 miles north of Marfa. When they listed the town in 2023 for $100,000, more than 70 people showed up to the open house. Among the serious bidders, one group proposed installing a super-powered radio tower, and another envisioned an escape room where participants would escape not just a room, but the entire town of Lobo. A couple from Corpus Christi won in October 2023. Their plans remain private. The desert is not in a hurry. Number 9. Buford, Wyoming. Buford was founded in 1866 as a military outpost guarding construction of the Transcontinental Railroad. It grew to a peak of 2,000 people and was visited by Presidents Grant and Roosevelt, and, by some accounts, Butch Cassidy. By 2012, one man ran the entire operation, Don Salmons, who operated the Buford Trading Post gas station, liquor store, post office boxes, and a leased cell tower alone at 8,000 feet on Interstate 80 with his own zip code. When Salmons auctioned the town, buyers from 46 countries bid. Nguyen Dinh Pham, a 38-year-old Vietnamese businessman from Ho Chi Minh City, flew in for his first ever trip to the United States and paid $900,000. He rebranded the town as Findlay Town Buford and planned to sell Vietnamese coffee to American highway travelers. He hired Salmons, a Vietnam War veteran, as co-mayor. Salmons told reporters that 45 years after the war, the two of them were now working together as friends. The coffee venture never scaled. The sign outside still reads Pop. 1. Some things in Buford do not change. Number 8. Ghost Town in the Sky, Maggie Valley, North Carolina. In the late 1950s, a Virginia businessman named R.B. Coburn looked at Buck Mountain in the Smoky Mountains and decided to build the American Wild West at 4,650 feet. He spent approximately $1 million on Western storefronts, a roller coaster, live gunfight shows, and a chairlift that climbed 1,250 feet from the valley floor. The park opened in 1961. In the 1960s and 70s, it drew roughly 500,000 visitors a year. It was the largest tourist attraction in western North Carolina. Then came corporate ownership, deferred maintenance, and a long decline. In the summer of 2002, the chairlift broke down in extreme heat. Dozens of visitors were stranded in midair on Buck Mountain before being evacuated. That was the last day the park ran, not a formal closure announcement, just a mechanical failure on a hot afternoon. Since then, at least 4 different owners have taken on the mountain. A local businesswoman named Alaska Presley purchased it for $2.5 million in 2012 at age 88 and managed a brief reopening in 2014. Plans at one point included a $200 million redevelopment with hotels and condominiums. Presley died in April 2022 at 98. Her development partner, Frankie Wood, died in November 2024. As of May 2025, the estate is moving toward another potential sale. 4 different owners have looked at that mountain and seen something worth saving. None of them has figured out what to do once they got up there. Number 7. Bridgeville, California. In 2002, one man who had accumulated most of the buildings in a small Northern California river town listed everything on eBay, the first American town ever auctioned that way. The 83-acre property on the Van Dusen River in Humboldt County came with a post office, residential homes, and a cemetery. The highest bidder offered $1.77 million, then backed out. An Orange County banker named Bruce Kroll purchased the town for approximately $700,000, undertook some restoration work, and sold it in August 2006 to a 25-year-old Los Angeles entertainment manager named Daniel LaPaya for $1.25 million. LaPaya brought in work crews and began building a park. People in the area started to believe something was actually going to happen there. Here's the thing. In November 2006, LaPaya died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound in Los Angeles, per the LA County Coroner's Office. He had owned the town for 8 weeks. Work crews were already on site when it happened. The restoration stopped the day the news broke. The town has been under absentee management since listed for approximately $995,000 around 2015, reportedly falling out of escrow multiple times as buyers run the numbers and walk away. The buildings still stand. The bridge the town is named for is still there. Somehow, the idea of Bridgeville keeps finding the next person willing to make an offer and the next reason to walk away. Number 6. Scenic, South Dakota. Scenic once had 2 restaurants, 3 gas stations, a school, a bank, and a hotel. By 2011, the only operating business was the U.S. Post Office. A rodeo legend named Twyla Merrill owned most of what remained. She listed it for $3 million in 2009. No buyers. She dropped the price to $799,000 in 2011, and that listing generated over 500 phone calls and 200 emails. The buyer was Iglesia Ni Cristo, a Philippines-based independent Christian church with 2.25 million members and approximately 600 congregations across more than 90 countries. They paid approximately $799,000 for 46 acres that included the skull-decorated Longhorn Saloon, a dance hall, a former jail, a train depot, and a general store. The real estate agent signed a confidentiality agreement. He could not name the buyer. Merrill did not know who had purchased her town. The church filed no building permits, applied for no tax-exempt status, and refused all media inquiries. The only employee still working in Scenic at the time of the sale was the post office clerk, Kathy Jobgen. She told reporters, "We don't know what's coming." Nobody did, including the woman who had just signed over the deed. 4 years later, in 2015, a minister arrived and began holding services on Thursdays and Sundays. Most of the buildings remain padlocked. The Longhorn skulls are still on the saloon. You stop when you drive past it, because there is nothing else in that direction that looks like that. If you are enjoying the parts of America that never made it into the travel guide, give this video a thumbs up. Let us know in the comments if you have ever stopped at a place like one of these. We are at the halfway point, and the stakes are about to get bigger. Number 5. Millican, Oregon, 25 miles east of Bend on U.S. Route 20, a cluster of weathered buildings appears on the right side of the highway. No gas pumps, those were removed long ago. A collapsing general store. A rusted motel frame. No one inside anything. You slow down because there is nothing else to look at for miles in either direction. This is Millican, Oregon, 80 acres of sagebrush high desert, population 0. Listed for approximately $1.2 million as of 2023, with no confirmed buyer. Bill Mellon bought the town in 1946 and ran its gas station, general store, and post office for 4 decades. By 1985, his wife had died of a heart attack, his son in a plane crash, his daughter in a drunk driving accident. He had listed the town for sale. He could not bring himself to leave. On the 8th of March 1988, Mellon, age 70, was shot in the back of the head by David Wareham, a recently paroled ex-convict he had hired for odd jobs using a .22 caliber pistol, taken from the store's own counter. Wareham received a life sentence with a minimum 25 years before parole eligibility. At the time of the murder, Mellon had outlived his wife and both of his children. His granddaughter testified at sentencing that he had finally recovered from his losses and was making plans to travel. David Wareham ended that. The granddaughter sold the town within months for $90,000. At least 6 ownership changes have followed since 1988 animal rescue plans, a family retreat, a store briefly running, none of it lasting. No one has stayed. The asking price has dropped. The general store is still collapsing, and Millican keeps waiting for someone who, unlike everyone before them, will not eventually leave. Number 4. Nipton, California. In 5 years, the same 80-acre patch of Mojave Desert changed hands 3 times. Nipton was founded around 1905 as a mining and cattle hub in San Bernardino County, about an hour from Las Vegas. Its 1,910 adobe hotel was once frequented by silent film star Clara Bow. By 2017, the population was roughly 20 people and 1 functioning hotel. In August 2017, a Phoenix-based cannabis company called American Green announced it had purchased Nipton for $5 million and planned to transform it into a cannabis tourism destination, CBD baths, edibles production, a full Green Rush resort experience. The announcement received massive media attention. Here's the wild part. San Bernardino County had one of California's strictest cannabis bans. American Green's accumulated debt reached $7.2 million within months. Its own SEC filings raised substantial doubt about the company's ability to continue as a going concern. American Green claimed to sell Nipton to a penny stock oil and gas company for $7.7 million, a transaction that a Leafly investigation reported as dubious. The deal collapsed. A California couple found themselves in effective possession of the town and eventually had to foreclose. When Nipton relisted in 2021, the interested parties included crypto investors, leaders of what the seller described as apparent religious cults, a group seeking to operate a party train from Las Vegas, and an investment group from Brazil. The buyer who won was Ross Mollison, founder of Spiegelworld, the Las Vegas adult circus company behind Absinthe at Caesar's Palace. He paid $2.5 million in early 2022 and called the plan a circus village. Spiegelworld set builders have moved in. The hotel still operates. The Mojave Desert has now absorbed the ambitions of a cannabis company, a penny stock oil firm, and an adult circus. It does not appear to be losing sleep over any of them. Number 3. Cerro Gordo, California. The Inyo Mountains sit between Mount Whitney, the highest point in the contiguous United States, and Death Valley, the lowest point in North America. Cerro Gordo sits in those mountains at 8,500 feet. The only access is a steep dirt road requiring a high-clearance vehicle. There is no running water. Power comes from a generator. In winter, the road closes under snow. The town's current resident has described the silence as something you have to train yourself to tolerate. From 1865 to 1938, Cerro Gordo was California's largest producer of silver and lead, over $500 million worth of metal, adjusted for inflation. At its 1870s peak, it held roughly 4,000 residents. There was reportedly a murder a week. When the property came to market in 2018, a group of investors led by a 3-2-year old Austin entrepreneur named Brent Underwood and his partner John Beer bid $1.4 million, described by Underwood as every penny from every account, plus a loan. The sellers chose their offer not because it was the highest, but because of their commitment to preservation. The sale closed on Friday, the 13th of July 2018. The plan: restore the 22 structures, open to visitors, build a historical tourism destination. In March 2020, Underwood drove up to give the caretaker a week off. The snow came. The lockdowns came. He stayed. In June 2020, while Underwood was alone on the property, the American Hotel, a 2-story structure from the 1870s, undamaged through 140 years of abandonment, burned to the ground. He filmed the ashes. Then, he rebuilt the frame. He has not left since. The YouTube channel he started to document the restoration has over 1.75 million subscribers. Water arrives by military truck, 1,000 gallons at a time, or is pumped from mines 700 feet underground. The hotel is being rebuilt. One man is living alone in a ghost town at 8,500 feet. Millions of people are watching him do it from places with running water. Number 2. Eagle Mountain, California. Kaiser Steel Corporation built Eagle Mountain from the ground up in 1948 to house workers for its iron ore mine in the Riverside County desert, adjacent to what is now Joshua Tree National Park. At peak, it held over 4,000 people, a shopping center, 3 schools, multiple churches, more than a dozen businesses. The mine closed in 1983. The town shut down with it. Hundreds of stucco homes, a 350-seat recreation hall, and the infrastructure of a small city were left standing in 10,000 acres of Mojave scrubland where they have been slowly deteriorating for more than 40 years. Since then, the property has attracted a new plan every decade. In 2000, Los Angeles County entered escrow to buy the land for $41 million and build what would have been the nation's largest landfill. A legal battle consumed years and ended without the project being built. In 2015, Eagle Crest Energy acquired the site for a proposed $2.5 billion hydropower facility. Conservation groups challenged that too, and it did not happen. Between those two proposals, the former shopping center operated as a minimum security prison until a riot forced its closure in 2003. 14 films have used the town as a set, including Christopher Nolan's Tenet and Rob Reiner's Stand By Me. On the 17th of April 2023, a company called Ecology Mountain Holdings purchased Eagle Mountain and all its mining claims for $22.58 million per SEC filings. The company appears to be related to a Southern California trucking and recycling operation with a fleet of roughly 600 large trucks used for construction debris removal and green waste hauling. No press inquiries have been returned. No development permits have been filed. Los Angeles County once paid $41 million for the right to turn Eagle Mountain into a landfill and lost the legal battle to ever use it. A recycling company paid $22 million for the same land in 2023 and has said nothing since. The ruins are still available. Number 1. Boca Chica Village, Texas, now called Starbase. Drive south from Brownsville on State Highway 4, past agricultural flatlands, past new residential developments called Lunar Estates and Starship Landing. Then the scrubland opens, and on the right side of the road, 400 feet of steel tower rises into the subtropical sky, visible from miles before you reach it. On the left is the Gulf of Mexico. On quiet days, the sound is shorebirds and construction equipment. On the days when they fire the engines, the sound is described by residents miles away as one that shakes buildings. The tower is Mechazilla. The company is SpaceX. The rocket is Starship. The destination is Mars. Boca Chica Village was built in the 1960s as a small retirement community on the southernmost tip of Texas, in Cameron County. People came to watch the Gulf. It was remote by choice. SpaceX selected the site in 2014 for its Starship development facility. In 2019, the company initiated a buyout program for Boca Chica Village properties. Some residents sold, others refused. Residents reported that agents representing SpaceX warned them the state could invoke eminent domain if they declined. One homeowner told NBC News that SpaceX offered her $150,000 for a waterfront property. She said comparable homes nearby were selling for 3 times that. An agent told her the area was not safe to continue living in. A resident named Cheryl Stevens, who sold in 2019, told Texas Monthly that living under SpaceX had become so onerous she chose to leave. In March 2021, Elon Musk tweeted, "Creating the city of Starbase, Texas." By 2022, Starbase was formally incorporated as a city. SpaceX employees participate in its governance. In June 2025, new zoning proposals went out to remaining property owners in the area. One line from the notice read, "The city of Starbase is holding a hearing that will determine whether you may lose the right to continue using your property for its current use." SpaceX and Starbase have established the Rock Hands Mitigation Bank, protecting over 1,000 acres of South Texas coastal plains. Boca Chica Beach opens to the public when no launch is scheduled. It closes when there is one. What remains of the original retirement neighborhood sits between the Gulf of Mexico and infrastructure designed for interplanetary travel. Someone built a beach house here in the 1960s to retire and watch the water. The porch now faces a 400-foot rocket tower. the city that grew up around it, with streets named for astronauts, a government structured around a launch calendar, a zoning board with the authority to end your property rights, was not built for the people who were already there. It was built for a rocket pointed at Mars. They did not ask for any of it. Most of them are gone. The brochure is not wrong. It just leaves a lot out. If we had to name one entry from this list, it is Millican, Oregon. Not because of the murder, because of the trip Bill Mellon never got to take. Which of these was new to you? And are there ghost towns near you that belong on a list like this? Subscribe because we are not done looking.